What are you doing in my swamp?
Hello everybody, this is Ogre Boy, and I'm going to be doing my review for the 1958 movie, The Blob. So this movie is directed by Irving Yearworth and follows a teenage couple, Steve and Jane, played by Steve McQueen and Annetta Corso. I hope I said her last name right. I probably didn't. But they are on a date and stuff and making out in the woods, and they see what they think is a falling star, and they go to find it, and an old man has already found it, and when he touches the little rock, it opens up and a little ball of slime is in it, and he picks it up with a stick, and the slime oozes onto his hand, and within a few minutes Steve and Jane find him, and they take him to this doctor and everything, and they put him on the table, and the slime just devours the old man, and soon it eats the doctor and his nurse, and it starts going on this little rampage in the town, and the teens are trying to convince the police that it's real and everything. They don't believe them, and eventually they finally see that it's real and have to work together to try to stop it from destroying the entire town. This is one of those 1950s horror movies that is a lot of fun. I've always really enjoyed this movie. I've only seen it a few times though. Like I watched it tonight was my first time in probably about 11 years since I watched it for the first time. I tried to watch it a couple years ago because I had it on VHS, and I tried to rewatch it for my 31 Days of Horror back then, but back in 2019 wasn't able to because my VHS copy just didn't work. That VCR ate it after just being in the player for about 10 minutes or so and everything, so I wasn't able to watch it back then. I had to find a different movie to watch, but I absolutely love The Blob. I think it's a really, really fun movie. I don't think it's really all that scary, but I think it's pretty cool. It's like this, it looks like Jello, or well, different parts of the movies it looks like different things. When you see it stuck on the guy's hand and stuff, it looks like someone just poured barbecue sauce on his hand, which I think is really amusing. But as the movie progresses, the blob starts looking like this big thing of grape jelly just rolling around and stuff. I don't know how they did the effects for it. I've never watched to find out because I kind of like not knowing exactly, if that makes sense. But I think it looks really good for the most part, and it holds up really well for being a movie that's been out for 63 years and stuff. It holds up pretty well to me. It is a little cheesy and stuff, but for the most part, I think it's actually a pretty decent story. Yeah, we've seen other movies where there's something going on and nobody believes the main characters and stuff, but to me, it worked in this scenario. It was believable, like unlike in the movie Jaws, the mayor doesn't believe Sheriff Brody, which even though there's a lot of evidence and stuff. This one, Steve doesn't really have evidence that this blob thing is real and everything, so nobody believes him, but even though the audience knows that it's real and stuff, and I love that about this movie. It kind of is a cool little take on that type of story, and I think all of the cast in here are good, but especially the main two leads, Steve and Jane are just really likable characters, and they're Steve McQueen and Annette Corso. Like I said, I hope I didn't butcher her name. They have really great chemistry. And work really well together. All the other supporting cast are all really great. And here they all do their jobs perfectly, and I enjoy this movie quite a bit. I think it's a lot of fun. It's one of those movies that came out in the 50s, and you can tell that it came out in the 50s. It's a product of its time, but to me, it's one of the better ones that I've seen. I just absolutely love it, which I haven't seen a lot of 50s horror movies, unfortunately. It's one of the eras I haven't really dipped my toes in a lot. I've seen this one and maybe a couple other ones, but I haven't seen a lot of 50s horror movies, so I'm kind of curious to go back and visit some more of them. But I absolutely love The Blob. I think it's a really, really fun movie and everything. It is cheesy and stuff, but that's part of what I like about it and everything. And I legit care about the characters, and I know the first time I saw it, I was like actually scared for Steve and Jane, especially in that scene in the store when they're locked in the little fridge thing, and the blob was slowly starting to get in there, and then you hear the dog barking and it leaves. That's a really great scene, and I actually thought it was really intense back when I saw it the first time. This time, since I knew what was going to happen, it wasn't as intense. But in the theater scene, when the blob is coming out of the theater and you see the people running, is awesome scene. It's one of the most iconic scenes from the movie, and I just really enjoy this one, and I think it's a really underrated movie. I know it does have its fan base and stuff, but I know a lot of people like to make fun of it and stuff because they think the idea of it's dumb and stuff, but I actually like what they did with it. I think it's a really entertaining movie, and it doesn't really get the credit it deserves. It is a lot of fun. It is a B movie, but it's a really fun one and everything. I'm looking forward to visiting the sequel that I haven't seen yet, Beware the Blob. I'm going to watch that here pretty soon. So I'm looking forward to seeing that, and the 1988 remake, which I'm not sure how to feel about a remake, but I'm guessing since it was released in the 80s, which is often referred to as the golden age of horror, I'm curious to see what they do with it back then and everything. But yeah, so I'd say I'd give The Blob an 8 out of 10. It's a really entertaining movie. It probably really deserves maybe a 7, but I'm giving it an 8 just because I'm always really entertained by it, and it goes by fast. It's a really fast-paced movie. It's only an hour and 22 minutes, so it doesn't overstay its welcome or anything. So, and if you haven't seen it, I definitely recommend it. If you have HBO Max, I think it's on there. I watched it on my DVD, but I think I saw that it's on HBO Max. So if you have that, you could definitely check it out on there. It's definitely worth watching, especially if you like older horror movies and stuff. It's definitely worth checking out for that and everything. But also, if you want, in the comments, recommend me some 1950s horror movies, and I'll see if I can find some of them, because I'd like to see more. If there's any in particular that you really like and stuff, just let me know, and I'll try to look them up and see if I can find them sometime. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video, and have a good day, everybody.